What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So tonight I want to talk about making decisions, especially long-term decisions. I think that people nowadays are making decisions without using any foresight on the consequences that they bear. I think a lot of times we perceive things through our narrow perception and don't make the necessary moves to broaden our perspective on things, to maybe get a wider, more encompassing view of something before we make a sound decision. Be it lack of education, lack of empathy, lack of caring, whatever the deal is, we narrow our vision and we make decisions based on our one presumption or one emotion or whatever it is that we're feeling. We make these decisions and we don't really give ourselves a chance to work them out, or we don't give ourselves a chance to encompass a wider perception on it. So we don't really make the best or most educated or most, not so influential driven decision. And I really believe that people are making decisions nowadays and they're so impactful on the lives of not just themselves, but the people in their lives as well. I'm talking generational impacts, kids and separation anxiety and trauma, and, the part where there's no balanced home life and there's a very chaotic schedule between the two, and things that happen, and then you've got things like assumptions and things that like work assumptions and making rash decisions based on emotions instead of rational thought when it comes to work, and drawing to conclusions about what other people are perceiving of you, but you might not necessarily understand or even know what they're actually feeling or working with there. So, you're letting outside influences impact choices that you make that are not necessarily the best choices that you have. And so the talk tonight is, guys, maybe we as people, as individuals, should, before we make a decision, it ain't like making a decision for dinner has to be some stoic, like mind-blowing perception that we have to come to and broaden our horizons and everything to make a decision on what we're going to eat for supper. I'm talking about things like that can destroy people's lives, that can influence people's lives, that doesn't just affect you, but affects a whole multitude of people. And this is where it comes with, doing your homework, doing your work on yourself, putting that work in on yourself to understand, maybe, am I at where I need to be? Am I working out of emotion? Am I using rational thought processes? Am I seeing the situation not only from my narrow perception, but from the perception of others? Can I get opinions of others from the outside looking in that aren't there to just validate my good emotions, or not good emotion, validate my ego? That's going to give me some wholesome advice. Am I incorporating those kinds of things and making, major life-changing decisions? And, as of recent, from what I've understood and from what I've seen, a lot of people really are not doing that. They're making decisions based on assumptions, based on their narrow perceptions. They move away and don't even try to incorporate any other line of thinking other than their own. And they're making decisions that wreck other people's lives, man, that turns everybody's life and their own life upside down based on an emotion, or based on a lack of empathy, or based on willingness not to work on oneself, and understand, doing a root cause on yourself. What's a root cause analysis on what's going on with you? And if you've got to make a life-changing decision and you're only willing to take the opinions of yourself and those who are kind of just validating your ego. Somebody, if you're not willing to take the opinion of somebody you trust to tell you the truth, then maybe you should look inside and do some work. Because if you can't be wrong about anything, and if don't allow yourself, some grace to make mistakes, then you're gonna make decisions that aren't the best decisions, and you're going to destroy lives around you and you're going to impact people, and that stuff can go generations. Choices that my grandfather made, are impacting his great grandchildren now, and I'm not saying that they're bad or good, but just the choices he made are impacting my family this far down the line, like my kid, which is his great grandson. So this is what I'm getting at. If we make decisions now based off of emotions and fears and blah, 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 without giving ourselves a chance to do the work and make sure that the decision that we're making is the right decision, the only decision to make that's going to just benefit everybody around you, and not just you, or not just what you perceive at that moment, then that decision can impact and ripple effect 3, 4, 5 generations down, because then you're trying to unlearn mannerisms that these people that your life decisions impacting, they're going to have to unlearn their own mannerisms, unlearn their own self-taught way of thinking, and do their own work later down the line to be able to break the cycle. And that's just kind of a complicated way of saying that, the decisions we make today impact futures, and those cycles will continue until one person amongst that cycle decides to change it and break that. And then, so you have to just have faith that would happen in the future for your bad decisions. And so what I'm getting at is, why are we making decisions now that might not necessarily be the best decision for the situation? Or maybe we haven't exhausted all choices and all things that can get that situation to move in a different direction, other than some drastic change you have to make, or some decision you make based off your emotions or based off your fear of self-reflection. Those things like that, guys, we can't be afraid to be wrong. We can't be afraid to have something wrong with us internally that we have to fix. Everybody does. We can't be afraid to attack those things. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to have a moment of weakness and do something stupid that you regret and that you need to make amends for. The biggest thing about making decisions and having regrets and making bad choices and things of that nature is the fact that you recognize them, you atone for them, and you move on, you learn from them. If that's the case, was it really a mistake? I don't think so. I think it's a learning lesson, right? So people today, from what I've seen, are making so many decisions based off of raw, unfiltered emotion, not caring about the consequences moving forward, not caring how it impacts people across a wide spectrum. And that is a tragic way to live life, because not only is your ripple effect hitting a pool of water and it's rippling out at a wide scope, but it's not doing it in a good way. It's not any kind of generational assurance or good behavior that you're teaching, or that decision will create trauma or something that ripples for generations. And we really need to kind of think about that kind of thing, think about those kinds of things when we're involving ourselves in decisions that are wide-based, that are life-altering, changing, completely just train wreck or whatever. Now, I understand that certain situations, there's very little time to do, certain choices you have to make have very little time to cultivate, and then, and sometimes there's only one choice involved, right? There's only one choice. There's only one, and that's the only one you can take. I get that. Those are not what I'm talking about now. There's situations out there where it's fight or flight, and I get that, and those situations, there's nothing you can do about it. But I'm talking about as far as choices that you make, as far as that you do have the time to stew on it, let it cultivate, get the gears in your mind. Instead of creating a plan to make a bad decision, how about give yourself more chance to give yourself a broader spectrum of understanding? That way you can make a sound decision that won't be so negatively impactful to not only your life, but the lives of your children, your parents, your grandparents, your friends, and everybody else that's involved in your life. Some of these choices, man, really affect them. And sometimes these choices that you make will change their perception of you as well, because they'll see you as taking rash, maybe not necessarily, the best decision maker, and that might entice them to distance themselves a little bit from you, or to only trust you in certain ways. It's like Mike Tyson said, when it comes to having people in your circle and having people in your circle that you're going to trust to influence you in decision making. Mike Tyson said that, not everybody who you fight is your enemy, and not everybody is your friend, or something like that. But anyway, it's like, and he was right. He's like, not everybody you fight is your enemy, and not everybody who does something for you is your friend, or whatever. So Mike Tyson has a very good, what he says is true. I mean, you got to be able to go into life and take broad information and make sound decisions based on that, not necessarily just off a few people who are going to cultivate your ego, who are striking your ego, and then you just go off into the sunset making a decision that might not necessarily be the most sound decision. And maybe sometimes people will tell you things just to watch you fail. So I mean, or keep them at your level or lower, or keep you at their level or lower. So that's all I'm saying, guys. Like, this has just been a really long-winded talk about when you're making decisions, and it's not a fight or flight kind of deal where you have to make a decision like that and just put it out there. When you have to make a life-changing decision that affects not only you but everybody around you, how about give yourself some grace, incorporate many different opinions, or just talk to the people that you can trust to tell you the truth, that isn't there to just I support you no matter what. No, I support people no matter what, but I still tell them they're making stupid decisions, right? So have those kind of people in your life. Give yourself a wide perception of what's going on. Think, self-reflect on yourself a little bit and say, is it me? Am I feeling this way because of this reason? Or is it because of something I did? Or is it really this situation is this way, and I just have to make this life-changing, life-altering decision because there just really is no other choice? And sometimes that's true. But all I'm saying, guys, is give yourself some grace before making decisions that will impact your bloodline generationally, like completely just train wreck your bloodline generationally for a long period of time, and hope that someone along your bloodline down the road will break that cycle and make more sound decisions that will, less impact the trauma of your, people down the line there. So anyway, but guys, if you like this I'm having troubles tonight, guys. If you like this content, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll talk to you next time.